Dear Parliament, as Chief Justice, I stand before you today to address the issue of sexual harassment. Every day, women all around the world are sexually assaulted, primarily by men. The most common victims of sexual assault are young women. 18 to 34-year-old women make up 54% of the sexual assault victims. Every 98 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. Every 98 seconds, a woman's life changes forever. Every 98 seconds, we allow for this to happen. Sexual assault is defined by the law as any type of sexual contact and/or behavior that occurs without the consent of the recipient. Sexual assault includes, but is not limited to, forced sexual intercourse, child molestation, incest, fondling, and attempted rape. Sexual assault costs the government an obscene amount of money annually. In the United States alone, the annual cost for sexual assault is $127 billion. $127 billion that could be spent on education, healthcare, and so much more. According to RAINN, Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, 94 women who are raped experience PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. 38% experience schoolwork issues. This puts further strain on the economy as it requires the government to provide counseling and extra support in school and workplaces, funds that should be distributed in other areas. Not only does sexual assault cost us as a society due to legal fees and other resources, but also due to an increased drug use linked to sexual assault. An individual who has been the victim of sexual assault is 3.4 times more likely to use marijuana, 6 times more likely to use cocaine, and 10 times more likely to use other heavy drugs. Drugs cost us as a society a tremendous amount of money. Therefore, I propose to you the solution to this sexual assault problem. I propose a mandatory modest attire in the form of a loose-fitting bodysuit. This way, women will stop begilding men and risk sexual assault. Men simply cannot control their sexual urges around women, and therefore it's a woman's responsibility to cover herself. Here are some suggestions on the mandatory modest attire. The dress, which is the minimum amount of clothing the woman will be wearing, is very modest and not suggestive to men. The cape is a shapeless garment which obscures the shape of the female body. The shape of the female body is almost inexorable to men and needs to be concealed. When walking outside, it should be mandatory for women to wear a large hat and to look down. This way, women will not look male passerbys in the eyes and thereby not ploy men into any sexual advances, only to then be falsely accused of sexual harassment. Men, such as Harvey Weinstein, Ben Affleck, and Ed Westwick, have had their careers ruined because of devious women who entice these poor men into initiating sexual advances, only to then cry wolf and demand attention. Who is really the victim here? To further make my point, I have some images and I will explain to you why females need to hide their seductive features from the perspective of a man. This is Linda. Linda is giving a presentation at the staff meeting. Tom is supposed to listen to Linda's presentation. Tom can't concentrate on Linda's presentations because he is focusing on the fact that she's wearing a skirt and high heels. After this, poor Tom insinuates his interest of a sexual nature to Linda, as she clearly gave signals that she liked Tom through eye contact and a smile. Linda goes to human resources and Tom gets fired. We simply can't allow poor innocent men to have their careers demolished because of women such as Linda. Men need to be recognized as the victims they really are, being asked to constrain their sexual nature due to women presenting themselves in a sexual manner. Women are simply asking for it with their heinous way of presenting themselves and luring men into misery. I humbly ask you to strongly consider my proposal for a better tomorrow and to remember that sexual assault is never a man's fault.